So, good morning and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Gram. I'm your host, Keisha Davis. Today, we've got another amazing guest joining us. Her name is Agnes Cazin, and she is a digital producer, marketing expert, and founder of Haiti73, which is a creative agency for fashion and beauty brands. And you provide services such as branding, content production, and event management. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct.
Amazing. Agnes, welcome. I got there in the end of that intro.
You did.
Amazing, amazing. So how's the new year treating you so far? We're kind of,
Uh,
midway-ish there through the start of the year.
well, because as you know, I'm launching this festival that Mia is treating me with very huge up and down, very little sleep, but a huge excitement.
Yes.
Um, so I would say, you know what? If I survive the first quarter, come back and ask me, and then I will be able to tell you. Because right now I'm taking it one day as it is, but so far it's good. It's always exciting to start a new project when it's a new start of the year as well,
Yes.
and it gives you a good indication on how the months are going to be, and also kind of the energy that
The
you're going to have
energy, right. It
months.
sets the
And
tone.
it sets the tone for like
Yeah.
what you promise yourself. So I have no resolution. I'm not getting slimmer this year. I'm not doing. If it happen, it happen. If it doesn't
Yes.
happen, we'll stay fat.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm taking it as it is, as
Yeah.
it goes. I'm trying to make the most of it. How is yours?
Same. And you know what? I think a lot of the people I've spoken to as well, whether it's friends, relatives, etc., I think because the world has been in such turmoil over the last 4 or 5 years, right? Since COVID,
25
I
years?
would say. So I think we feel at the start of the year, before it used to be new year, new me, I've got this plan, that plan. And yes, although we can still continue to plan, I think there is an element of us realizing we don't have as much control as we think we do. So it's just like, just see where the year takes us. So that's the energy I have for this year. Even though I have my plans, my broad plans, I'm also quite open to any opportunities that come my way. And there is an element of, like you said, let's just get through it. I hope for a
Yeah.
joyful, healthy, productive year. That's my prayer. That's what my intentions are. But yeah, there's an element of, because of the way the world has been, we just have to see where the wind blows to some degree.
Yeah, we do. We're gonna do our best.
We're going to do our best.
Our
We're
best.
going to do our best. So you've had like a fascinating and multifaceted career. When I read your bio, I was really impressed. And I'm looking forward to talking more about your journey and all the incredible things you have lined up for this year, as you just touched upon. But before we go into that, can you tell us a bit about your journey from Paris to London? So, because according to your bio, you're born in Paris, raised in London.
So yes, well, I was born in
Sorry,
Haiti.
born in Haiti, raised.
Really, yeah, but I came so young in France that it was like me being born in France. But I was actually born in Haiti, and then I moved to France when I was a year and a half, a year
Okay.
old. Um, the best the best time in my life, because I was born in the 70s. I was born in the 1900. So I am not, and I am
Yes.
not a young spring
I'm
chicken.
70s baby as well.
Wow,
Gen Xer.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was very blessed to be born in the 70s because it was fun.
Best
It was
time ever.
very fun. It was one of the hardest times because we were coming up right after the Social Rights Act in America that shook the entire world and the vision, Martin Luther King. And, we are the generation that benefited from all of that, so very much into freedom and experiencing things. And it was a good year. 80s was fantastic, 90s great, but then in the 90s I was more like a young adult.
Mm.
70s I was a child. The 80s I was like second, like secondary school, and the 90s I was a young adult, and it was 3 decades of really exciting time because the hip hop movement was born,
Yes.
feminism was there. We had the hippies. I mean, I went through all those decades, like all together. And I think that brought into me someone very much, very free, unapologetic. I don't live in fear of what people are going to think about me because simply because in those days, as free and as fun as it was also extremely openly racist. And that's one of my foundation, that's my base as well, because I've grown up with extremely yeah, extreme racism. I
Mm-hmm.
can, yeah. And that forged your personality and your
Mm-hmm.
resilience and your strengths, and
Absolutely.
that teaches you to be like, you know what, I'll do what I've got with what I've got, and I'll try my shot. It
Mm-hmm.
works, it works. It doesn't work. Hey,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would have tried my best. And sometimes you try your shot and it works,
yeah,
and then
absolutely.
you're just like, wow, okay. So I've moved to the UK when I was 26 years old,
Okay.
but I had come to the UK prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. And the first time I came by myself in the UK, that wasn't like that wasn't the no, the first time I came it was Thatcher time, and then I came during Tony Blair. But what I had never encountered is to see black people on prominent position. I had never seen that, like never, never ever. So when I came to the UK and I seen that, I was absolutely flabbergasted. I
Wow.
was like, I need to come and live here because if I can start a life, it will be here.
And when you say
And
when you say prominent positions, what do you mean exactly? Like in
well,
positions of government or banks or
position,
finance?
yeah, position in government in finance. I remember because I came with my best friend and we were staying in Notting Hill, no, Queensway, and we go to that bank and we see this guy, and they had a security guard, and then we see this black guy telling someone in the bank, you need to do this, and Cynthia, you need to do this and that, and we stop and like, Cynthia, what? And I went up to the guy and said, excuse me, what do you do here? And he was like, oh, I'm the director of the bank. And I was like, shut the front door. You're the what?
Wow.
And I had never seen her. And he was like, yeah, like, what's wrong with you? I'm the director of the bank. For me,
Wow.
that was just incredible. That was, and I came home and I was like, I've met a black guy. He was the director of the bank. And people were just like, oh my God, because that was, and if you don't see it, you don't think
You
it's
don't,
possible.
yeah,
And for me, the UK represented all of that. And seeing that actually it's not because it doesn't happen in your country that it's not possible somewhere else.
yeah.
But in
That's
the
so
meantime,
interesting because funny enough, because we sound like we're a similar age group. And I
yeah,
found the opposite. I found it was when I traveled to, like, I'm born in London, born and raised in London all my life. I found when I travel to places in America, like New York, for example, and you see black people in all kinds of positions, similar, and also on TV, reading the news. Similarly, when I went to Jamaica as a young adult as well, just seeing people in positions of government and banks and flight attendants. It was so mind blowing to me as well. And in our mind, and even looking back, we always say, and that's why we have this kind of fight for diversity and equality that we have now, because we feel as Black British people that we aren't represented in high places. So it seems like there are levels to this thing, right? Because you came
and well,
From
you
France and
just
thought,
you just touch on it. There is label. I think that the on the top of the line was America because of their problematic history with race,
yeah,
and then they had to put system in place to correct that.
mm,
That system in place trickled down to the UK because after all, they are only the cousins of French and British people,
yeah,
and then obviously the very bottom line of it is French, which is relatively behind
mm,
general with any question with race and equality and equity. France is extremely behind,
mhm.
especially in the 80s and the
Do you think
70s.
that's still the same case, or do you think things have progressed
I
a lot?
think uh, thing, things have progressed since George Floyd because they've had to, but not in a way that I would say Black people in corporation are very safe. So you have, if you have to take a ratio in Black people in corporation in France, I think you would find a lot of mental illness due to being in corporation and the fact that they had to work. Some of them work really, really, really hard to be invisible. So
Mm,
people forget that they are Black. Some of them are in between, but a lot of them are just not able to be their true self at work. And some of them don't even know what their true self is because they've tried so hard to fit
mm,
in,
to assimilate.
um, assimilate, like fitting in, assimilate, and disappear altogether, and then completely being a mirror of what they think is right
Mm,
in the environment. And sometimes it can be quite toxic. Um, and France for that, I would say, is on the top of the
mm.
UK. You see that a
Okay.
lot. And then I think the UK would be number two. You see it less because more space has been made for minorities to be able to show up at themselves.
Yeah.
And then place number one, where like it is like not in their constitution, but they used to be big on it. We'll see within the coming months. But
Hmm.
that was America, who was really like had a very firm position,
Yeah.
trying to have like a
Yeah.
positive discrimination act and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
So I understand you because as a British person, for you, what you've had, let's say it's like America are allowed to have hundred of black millionaires. The UK would have only 50,
Yeah.
and France is allowed to one.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like each country their ratio, and it
Yeah.
shows you how far they have advanced with the
Hmm.
question of rights and inclusivity and diversity.
Yeah. Okay. So would you say that was one of your main driving factors for you to move from Paris to London then?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely it was. Not because I was in I wasn't I was doing really well in France. I was doing really well. I was very happy. I was a show producer. I had a job. My former boss, Andy, had gotten a job at Universal Music,
Okay.
um, and he wanted me to join him there. And I wasn't very sure because I think at the time I was already corporation. I'm not too sure. I wasn't very sure, so I said, "Like, yeah, you're gonna have your own office. You'll
Yeah.
have a key. Nobody can get in. It's your floor." And I was just like, "Oh wow, that's very tempting. Everybody knows, you know." But I would like, let me come in because I already wanted. I had wanted to come to London for the longest time. So it was like, what are you going to do in London? There's nothing to be done in London. London's rubbish. And that's not what I think. So
Yeah.
I went there. I looked at my office and I thought, that's very nice. I went to the different floor and I said, that's not for me. Because music wasn't really my vibe, and I was so much into fashion and shoot, and I
Mm.
think that's where my core passion was as well. Plus I was just like, I see a lot of people not working really hard. Where is this going? And you know what, 2 years after that, record company folded. So
Wow. Yeah.
I was in London, and I think I definitely made the right choice
Yeah,
for me.
absolutely. Okay, so you arrived in London and yeah, what did you do when you first came over then? Because obviously you don't have that same network and the connections that you have back home.
I At the time, they had agencies. They were placing you into different hotels, and you were do you know that they used to do in pubs where you could stay as a lodger and work as well?
Yeah.
So I had one of those deals, and I was paid like £2. I was paid £2.50 an hour.
Wow.
And so that was like, oh, it was the housing condition were a disgrace.
Wow.
That was a disgrace. But that was fun because we were all young,
Yeah.
and we were all like kind of trying something new. So I was housed by the hotel,
Hmm.
and I was working at the same time. And then I moved in Watford in a pub where I was the same, house by the pub, worked in the pub. And I spent my two first years learning English, computers, read and write, saving money, came back to London. And then my journey into finding my foot in London started,
Okay.
like with my own accommodation, with the lease, like a big girl. And the first year were not super easy. So I worked at Office London. I was in Portobello. I was a sales assistant. And I've met an amazing girl called Taz. She was young, like me, like we were young. I wasn't 30 yet. And she wanted to forge a career in TV. And I wanted to be an agent and a producer. That
Hmm.
was what I wanted to do. And she got this major job, and she's like, Agnes, I'll be back for you in 6 months. And I
Oh,
was like, okay, whatever,
yeah.
we'll see. And 6 months later on, she came back for me and she's like, Agnes, I've got a job for you.
Right.
So you have a meeting that day, that time, that place.
Okay. What was the
And
job?
it was to be a runner in a post production company. And it was hilarious because although I was speaking a good English, I had not studied media studies, so I know nothing about editing. I knew nothing about grading, but that was to be a receptionist. My English was good, but on the phone it was terrible. I couldn't understand a thing, and I didn't know because I didn't know the industry. I was
Yeah.
confused with the word, and so I find myself in some very situation that
Tricky
was
situation.
really, really funny for
Yeah.
me, but maybe not funny for them. And from that, I built up a network with PR first and fashion a little bit. And then
Yeah.
at the end of my running experience with this company, because it was in Soho, I knew a lot of little agencies in Soho. You
Mhm.
had a lot of little PR pockets in
Yeah.
different places, in small offices. It was very wild. It was very like, it was a time where London was the finance guru of Europe, like the king of banking. So everything was pretty fun,
This was the
Uh,
90s, right? The glory days of the 90s.
that was the 90s, but I came in 1919, so it was more like early 2000,
Okay.
where
Mhm.
things were
Things were still
really,
quite good.
our thing were
Yeah.
very good. We
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
very vibrant. We had a good 10 years run
Yeah.
of fun,
Absolutely.
until 2008, 9, it was like pretty much like, yeah, let's have fun.
Yeah.
and and then I had different jobs where I was learning the culture. I would because people don't actually realize, but I am really an immigrant, like proper immigrant. My English wasn't really, I wasn't speaking like that when I first arrived,
Hmm.
and it took me 2 years to understand that I am not sure means no. And uh, and when you learn a language, you also need to learn the culture.
Yeah.
um, so at the top of my journey in London, I was recruited into it's still for me one of the best experience work-wise at Weber Represent, because it was an agency that until a certain point I was able to show up to work as myself, being myself,
Right.
and being seen without having to wear a mask
Yeah.
or fit in any shape or ways,
Hmm.
you know. And then obviously there always a Karen coming in at some point, and she's like, "Nah, I don't like that black girl being us. That I want her to be miserable," and that's what happened. So I had to leave.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had collected a network. I was going out a lot, so I had a network of stylists, photographers, and
Yeah.
people that go clubbing, I guess, because I used to club
Hmm.
in France as well. So I have this kind of people in publishing, editors,
Hmm.
stylists, models, people of the night scene and the fashion scene and
Yeah.
the advertisement scene. And I mean, it's like once after Weber, I had to really take a decision. So I kind of left. It didn't work out really, really well. That wasn't, I didn't left for a better agency or anything. That was a bit a waste of time. And I was just thinking, what can I do that I can earn money,
Mm.
be free, and I never, ever, ever want to work with a Karen again. Funny enough, she was called Katerina as well, so that's really funny. And I was like, and what about me doing being an agent, but not a permanent agent? And then I was like, we've got all those talent who are international looking for representation in London, and I
Mm,
could do that like for like short term, like an Airbnb of rep, and
mm.
that's what I did. I was
Is that how you founded Haiti 73?
yes, that's how, and I was
Yeah.
like, so how am I going to do this and that, the name, and it was. I will tell you the truth. I
Mm,
was at a dinner. I was just having supper with a friend, and I was like, how do I do if I want to earn 10K a month? And she's like, wow, we had a few drinks, and like, wow, let's get the calculator. We took the calculator, we divided, well, if you charge them 500 a day and you start like this, like that, you get that. And I was
yeah.
like, do you know what? Do you know what? Actually, I think I can do
Yeah.
that. Actually, I think yes. And I was like, so I had no money because my wages were quite low. And I was like, but from being a sales assistant, I understood that if I can sell you the vision,
Mm, yeah.
I'm the agency. And that's what I did. I sold my vision to the photographers. I also was very good at my job. That's
Yeah.
how. I sold the vision to the photographers. With their money, I started my website.
Right.
I started my business card, and then my job was to book them into appointment with ad agencies. And I was doing really well. I really like, I was doing excessively well.
Yeah.
And then the first banking crash, kind of, because
Mm,
when you have a banking crash, the first things to go, the first budget to be cut are the advertising.
yeah.
And this huge crash in 2008 9
Hmm.
um, kind of changed the ad agencies into the way they were working. So I was just like, you know what, I've done well. I think I'm at the end of this little silver lining of luck.
Yeah. And
um,
how long was you in operation for by then?
I was
When did you
in
start?
operation for like 2.5 years.
Okay, so it's still quite at its infancy.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
much his infancy. But you know what? I had never even thought I was gonna have an agency one day.
Mm.
I was just like, what can I do? I need money,
Yeah, yeah,
money,
yeah.
I need money. And at the time, because I'm from this kind of freelance background, what do? You start an agency because
Yeah.
that's what you do.
Yeah.
So that's what I done. And then crash came, got pregnant. I'm gonna chill because I've done well. I'm gonna chill a bit. I'm gonna take 1 year out, I'm gonna have that baby and see and feel what's around and how I can leverage what I've been doing. And then I didn't have to. It just fell on my lap. And I was very grateful and lucky. I had met Shinge Shoniwa,
Mm.
the
I
singer from
love
the
her.
Noise.
Yeah.
Like, girl, what are you doing? You're pregnant. That's amazing. We should do stuff together. And I'm like, well, let me get that baby out. And then
Yeah.
I had the baby out, and then I call her back, and we got on really, really well. And she was like, well, she had a French boyfriend at the time, and she said, I'm going to France to meet my boyfriend's family. And I'm like, well, I'm going to France. Let me hook you up. We
Hmm.
did that. We got on fire, and she said, you need to work with me. And I said, bitch, I need to work with you 100%. And we did, and I started to be like a brand manager, but I didn't know what was a brand manager. It just came, and because I used to be an agent, like hair, makeup, stylist, photographer, it
Yeah.
just came to me naturally. And I
Mhm.
think the strategies and the marketing, I just had all of that in me.
Yeah.
So we did the Paris Fashion Week together, and it was the best time in my life. We were on fire. We really were on fire, and it was to promote her, for her to get seen, for her to get contract,
Yeah.
and it worked really well.
Fantastic. So tell us how you came up with the plan for Buzzer Beauty, which is your latest venture that you're
So
launching. Is it March? It come when tell us when
yeah,
first of all.
29th and 30th of March.
Okay. And it's a
Ah, it's
forever
scary,
one.
like, yeah,
That's
66 days.
66 days. You're counting. You got your countdown on. I love that. So tell us a bit about that, how the idea came about. And I can imagine you are using some of the connections and the work you've done with Haiti73. It just seems almost like a natural progression to bring that all to life.
Do you know what?
Then you,
I think it kind of is, but I will tell you exactly why I started it. I started it because I did a trade exhibition in Paris. So I started my career with trade exhibition as well. So I kind of know trade exhibition, and I understand what it is to be a vendor there. Um, and I did one in France for that was for RRS, and we paid a lot of money for this one. And it really stuck with me how the customer service wasn't on their mind at all at the time.
mm,
And because I also, before being in Black Beauty, my experience was with like high-end fashion, luxury,
mhm,
and beauty. So I had experience launch with Diesel, and the launch with Diesel, I think they had like over 1 million budget or something like that. So everything is pristine, perfect, sweet, beautiful, very nice, super demure. And then when I started to work with the Black brand and the Black business of beauty, I was shocked on how customer service wasn't there,
mm,
how you were not being pampered, and
yeah,
how big brand corporation with product didn't have an ad agency, didn't have a PR agency. And I was like, but this is so different from the fashion and even my experience with L'Oreal or even in music where you have all this army of people to help you to communicate.
mm,
And I realized that they did not actually need it to. They did not need it to. So when they had event and the one that we did in France, I was so disappointed because I didn't get a bottle of champagne or I didn't get the press to come and see us, and we were the biggest exhibitor, and it stuck with me.
yeah,
That feeling of not being catered, of not being seen, and just felt like I am a cash cow
mm,
stuck with me because another corner of my life is very elevated
right,
and very much delicious.
hmm,
And it's kind of grown over the years with me where I was just like, why is that when you go to Europe, Black events are so poor, like so poor,
hmm,
that we can't have something innovative? How is it that in a city like Paris, which is a capital of fashion and luxury,
yeah,
the Black experience is absolutely ridiculously poor?
hmm,
And I think the fear, the not knowing so much, the not being so comfortable took the best of me. And I've been thinking of doing Buzz of Beauty for 8 years. I wanted to do it with a friend. I wanted to do it with somebody. I couldn't find anyone. And then at some point I was, you know what, Agnes, just do
just
it.
do it. Yeah, awesome. So
What's going to
what's
happen?
the details then? Where is it going to be taking place? How can people get tickets?
So, so ticket will be launched on Monday, the 1st
Okay.
of February on
Hmm.
Eventbrite.
Okay.
Straight after this call, I'm going to be working on it.
Yeah. And what's the
Um,
price? What kind of price
Yeah.
range?
So
Yeah.
so the pre-sale is gonna be £40,
Hmm.
and then it's gonna be £55 at the door on the day
Okay.
for one day. If you want to come for the weekend, it's
Hmm. Okay.
£145.
So it's quite premium priced. But as you
It is
said, because you're giving like an elevated experience, aren't you?
it is an elevated experience. So what is Butter Beauty and how is it gonna be operating? We've got two pillars. We've got the education and we've got the experience.
Hmm.
Butter Beauty, I've made it because we've seen a huge amount of founders starting something and not finishing
Yeah.
because lack of money, lack of support,
Yeah.
lack of resources.
Hmm.
And I wanted to be Buzzer Beauty to be this space where anybody that is thinking of starting a brand
Mm.
can get the resources.
Right.
Someone that has started a brand maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago and
Hmm.
is on the level that it needs to scale up will come and
Right.
find the answer on how to go to the next level. And if you are a huge corporation and you're just like, we want to get into this market, but we don't understand how to speak to those people, we don't
Mm.
understand the strength, they can come back and then be on the ground level and on the community level with us.
Mm.
And to support that, we're gonna have talks and we're gonna have workshop. We're gonna have business workshop on how to do prices,
Hmm.
how to do bookkeeping stress-free, and also how to produce content. So how to produce like beautiful beauty content. We're gonna have it with Gary Thompson,
Okay.
um, which is an influencer who does a lot of makeup and skincare.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have talk about the what is the status of investment for the Black beauty founders, where we have Andy Davis from 10 by 10
Okay.
and Nena something from 100 Alleys. I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. It's sometimes I've got problem to remember names. So we got Nena from 100 Alleys, Andy Davis from 10 by 10. We've got Kem from Kem by Shop
Hmm.
for another talk on formulation, because formulation is now everybody can go and formulate a product now.
Yeah.
But how do you know that you've got the right formulation,
Yeah.
the right
Hear you.
formulator? So we're doing that with a Kem by Shop. We're doing that with 25p Skin from Nigeria.
Hmm.
It's going to be very international. We have also other talks on how to sell direct to consumer
Yeah.
with with Massima. Am I crap at name? Yes,
That's
I'm gonna
okay.
look
That's okay. This sounds amazing. So, for anyone who's watching this who is a brand founder or is thinking of pursuing a career in, the business of beauty, it sounds like the place to go,
at.
the
But
place to be.
also,
Mhm.
we're also going to have a pop-up with black-owned brand. And what's going to be nice about it, that it's not just going to be a place of consumption, but
Yeah.
it's also a place of education.
Hmm.
So the art of this pop-up is going to be the beauty bar, where
Hmm.
it's a bar where you're going to be able to try the product on display.
Yeah.
And we're also going to have workshop. So we have a workshop with the wig bar. She's going to help you to have a look at, rethink of your wig.
Yeah.
So if the wig is a bit too big, how do you tweak it yourself?
Right.
Everything about, because wig is a huge investment as well.
Exactly.
So we've got her.
Okay. That
We
sounds
we
fantastic. So we need to know then where we can find you and where we can find out about the Buzzer Beauty Festival for people that would
so
like to.
you can find me on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
at the is it yeah, Instagram, Buzz of Beauty. Yeah, Buzz underscore beauty underscore festival.
Okay. And I can always link it actually in the description. So it's all
Yeah,
good.
and then the holding page is on
Mm-hmm.
Haiti73.com,
Yeah.
and it says on the top on the menu Buzz of Beauty Festival.
Amazing. I'm wishing you all the best. I know it's going to be amazing. I'm going to plan on coming down to see you as well. So tell us where the event's going to be taking place, Agnes.
Well, okay. I'm just like, I'm so chuffed about that, because I this is the only place I wanted to do it. It's going to be at
Mhm.
the Africa Center in Southwark, between
Amazing.
Southwark and Waterloo. And to be fair, I've built the event in my mind based on that location.
Right.
Took me months and months. I couldn't get hold of nobody. I would go there. The people that I would have needed to see, they were never there when I was there. It was a nightmare. And I was just like, I don't care. And it's not even a matter of asking them what do you, I was like, this is going to happen in that building, whether they want it or not. That's
Okay.
where it's going to happen. And then I couldn't. So I was starting to look at, okay, so I went on LinkedIn. I was like, who the hell is
He's
part of
managing.
this
Yeah.
company, of the management of this company? Because I used to have a podcast and I used to record it from there, but
Right.
all the team had changed. So my long journey into finding, like, frame myself into the Africa Center, and then I realized that there's that one guy who's called Julian, and he's got this beauty brand called Yindi
Okay.
Yindi Yindi Skincare, something like that.
Right.
So I contact the guy on LinkedIn and like, listen, you're in beauty, I'm in beauty. This is what I'm doing. I am desperate to get hold of the Africa Center.
Yeah.
Say no more, he said. He hooked me up with the right person, and since it's story, and
Vegan.
when I pitched the event, she was like, "We love it." But that was 2 years ago.
Oh,
In
wow.
between, I had an accident. I was in physio. I couldn't do nothing. And very gracefully, they were like, "Yeah, okay, let's move the dates." And I was
Okay.
like, "Really? Are you sure?" "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem. We just everything has been very easy with them. It's been fantastic. They're fantastic partners. They perfectly understand where I'm coming from and where I'm going.
Hmm.
It is the first edition, so some stuff are going to be messy and stuff are not going to be exactly the way I had in mind, and people are going to have to give me some grace. But at the same time, I'm so harsh when I'm so harsh with myself as well. I really want it to be perfect, but I think that this time I'm not gonna aim for perfection. I'm
Mm.
gonna aim for connection, and I'm gonna aim for collaboration, and I'm gonna aim for legacy.
Right.
Legacy in the sense that when people come to Birds of Beauty, I want them to walk in with the feeling that they are at home,
Hmm.
and I want them to form relationship and potential collaboration, and I want this event to be living outside of
Yeah.
the event. And to be honest, the event hasn't taken place; it's already happening because I'm in talk with a small retailer in Mayfair, and she's seen the people that I had, and so like, could you take Buzz of Beauty to the store? Could
Oh,
we
so
have like, yeah,
once it's over, you're going to be doing a separate in-store event.
could, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Could we extend it with your beauty talent? And I was like,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
So we already have a meeting to organize that, and it will happen few days after Buzz of Beauty. And this is exactly what I wanted. I want people to form relationship, to discover one another, to learn system, to learn how to work. um, the price is the price because the quality of our speakers,
Speakers.
it's not. And I've got nothing against influencer, yeah, but here that's not the case. Here it's people that have been in the business for a very long time.
Hmm.
We've got Marina Camus, who has an incubator in France that's been extremely helpful with us to set up those conversations. So we've got, and I'm going to be very honest, I've got my list here and I'm going to have to read
Yes.
it because otherwise
Good.
I can't pronounce the name
Yeah.
sometimes. We've got Jill Ware. She does new product development. She's huge in this business. She knows her stuff on the tip of her fingertips. She's really like she is like she's a don on that, she's a boss. And this is like, it is priceless to come to such a small audience as mine, to a first edition.
Yeah.
We're gonna have very serious conversation. We've got Ayeta Mujay, who helped Sephora to relaunch in the UK, and
Okay.
she helped the diversity side of it. So this is when we're going to be talking about the rise of Black beauty.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about supply chain as well, and we've got Mike Show as well. He's from a big corporation. I can't remember the name of the brand. We've got Frank Bayard, who is a sales manager. He took by himself a brand called Les Secrets de Loli in France. From, let's say, they were maybe doing like 100K a year or whatever, to 25 million
Wow.
without investment,
Wow.
completely bootstrapped. He's an underdog that showed everybody, to any corporation, what a little David can do facing Goliath.
Hmm.
He is one of it is on our, I don't even have word to describe Frank
Yeah.
Bayard because
Okay.
of his capacity of having vision, understanding the market, his kindness as well, like really a kindness of understanding the trouble that Black business are going through. It's like really like we're gonna have Amma from Plant Made as well. We've got a
Oh, yes.
fantastic journey, and I didn't want it to share Amma's influencer. I want to share Amma's the
As a
businesswoman.
businesswoman, yeah, she's done incredible work with
Do you know?
marketing, hasn't she? Yeah.
It's amazing. The world should know. Everybody should know. And the more you have representation of that, the more you know. Okay, so we've got option. We can have a
Yeah.
beauty brand like
And
this.
it's things
We can.
like that. It's like you said, it's the value you get from the information from the speakers. And I find in the beauty industry, there's a lot of information, especially regarding building a brand that's just not readily available.
Oh, it's completely about people
Yeah,
just want. I want people to be like, okay, so this is how you can do.
yeah.
Not this is how you do,
Hmm.
but this is how you can do.
Can do it.
We're
Yeah.
also gonna have Chala is a beauty founder based in New York, and he's got a brand called Hayeya. It's African soap. Oh,
Okay.
amazing. So we're also discovering brands who are very elevated, who
Yeah.
are very premium brand at affordable prices, which
Okay.
is something that we need. We're gonna have what does it take to sell direct to consumer. I particularly love this one
Hmm.
because there is three of my absolutely beloved people. We're gonna have Tende Moyo from Ruka's Hair. We're gonna have Massima Masibu from direct to consumer. Marina Camus from the beauty lab.
Hmm.
She's a former executive at Procter and Gamble
Okay.
into operational. You do not get those people like it is premium
Yeah.
because the knowledge is
Hmm.
serious
Yeah.
and the conversation are going to be
Will it be
hard.
just one big panel, or will there be different sessions that people can
So we're
attend?
gonna have like with every 1 hour and a half, we're
Right.
gonna have different session
Different sessions.
over
Yeah.
the 2 days.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be 1 hour session and half an hour Q&A. Because also I wanted people to get a chance and have a shot to be able to
Ask
to
questions.
have a question. So I was like, if people have 5 minutes for a question, we can
Hmm.
get a lot of people to ask
Yeah.
questions, and
Okay.
we can get a real action. And then we're also gonna have, and I'm taking my phone again. We also, because there's so many things,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're gonna have 4 professional workshop. One that I'm gonna lead, which is gonna be how to launch your beauty brand,
Hmm.
because I realize people don't actually know how to launch that.
And that's what I'm
And this
saying. There's not much information. There's so much information about everything online, but that is still remains a bit of a mystery. And it seems to be information that is, I wouldn't say gate kept, but
it is
yeah, to some
absolutely.
degree it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's not. I tell you, there's a lot of information about the cool stuff and the stuff that we do. I'd love to work in beauty, so I could try on product.
Yeah.
Like new product development is not what people think. You
Hmm.
know, it's a lot of rules and regulation,
Yeah.
and the side where like, I like this perfume is
Yeah.
at the very end of it.
And
There's
this is
so
kind of the not being mean, but it's the unsexy part of beauty, right? Because everyone thinks the beauty of makeup and hair products and photo
much.
shoots and going to glamorous locations, but this is the nuts and
But
bolts of
this is the back office.
the back
So
office, the back end. Yeah,
I could have called. Actually, maybe that's what I should have done. I could have called the festival Beauty Back Office
yeah,
because that's
true.
what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yeah.
You know what?
I love
I was meant to ask you about that tagline as well. I love your tagline. Was it from for ladies that shop at Selfridges but get their hair done in Peckham?
yes,
I love
because
that.
it is rooted in the community, but our community has always been very welcoming and open minded.
Hmm.
And I also wanted to get not just the entrepreneurs, but I also wanted to get the corporation to show how this community is serious.
Hmm.
And for anybody from our community that wants to have a shot or is trying, they need to be hanging around and meet up with people that have been doing it for years. And
Yeah,
for the people that have been doing it for years, if they want to know what people want, they need to hang out with us because we lead the trends.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
so it's really it's a 50-50. It's it goes every single ways. It's
Yeah.
like and I'm very so another talk, and I want to talk about this one in particular, which is for me very, very important because we're going to do a partnership with Stressly, the tech companies that have the booking system for the hairdresser.
Hmm.
We're going to do something about the investment for Black brand, what's going on. So it's going to be called Where's the Money? Who's got the money? Give me the money. Because
Mm.
in reference to the movie, like, show me the
So
money.
funny. Yeah.
And it's really, this is the question that we are asking. Where is
But
this
yeah.
investment
Because you keep
money?
hearing about, the beauty industry is worth how much billions and stuff, but that's not trickling down
But
to
where is it?
us. Yeah.
But where is it in? And then
Yeah.
the second question, so is it in Europe? Is it in Asia? Is it in America?
Mm.
Is it in the UK? Is it in the Middle East? And then the second question is like, who's got that money?
Hmm.
And then give it to me.
Yep.
And how are you going to give it to me? How am I going to? And for this, we are so lucky. We've got Nena Onuba from 100 Alleys, and I'm just like, I'm just, thank you, thank you, thank you so much, because we need this. We've got Andy Davis from 10 by 10. We've got Antoinette L from Tresley, who had to go and look for investment, and she's a sweetie, and she is so clever.
Mm.
Like, I can't wait. I really can't wait. And I'm extremely lucky. We've got Elvis Kawedo. He's a contributor at Beauty Matter, and he just wrote
Mm.
a paper
I love beauty.
about
Mm.
investment in the beauty community. And
Amazing.
the paper it's one of the best paper I read this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
Extremely well researched,
Hmm.
very, very sharp. And I was like, I need to have that guy to moderate
Yeah.
that conversation, because it's really going to take it to a completely different level,
Yeah.
where we're going to be very far from gossip and very into business.
Hmm.
So it is the right time and the right moment, and we're going to also have like the formulation conversation with formulators, and also um a, a position, a job that people like completely overlook when they start into beauty. It's a raw product buyer.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
we've got a raw product buyer coming from Paris.
Hmm.
It's going to be part of the product, because people don't understand that farming and beauty are completely linked together.
Right.
If there's no farming, there's
No beauty.
no beauty
Yeah.
industry.
Let's think about the ingredients.
Because
Yeah.
it's all out there. So
Yeah.
everything has to do with farming. And my son, the whole beauty is rubbish, about doing cheap, cheap and being an influencer. There's nothing that you can do. I say, are you crazy? All the thing you can do in beauty, because the chain is extremely long, and
Mm.
it starts by having a farm,
Yeah.
and then it trickle up to a Sephora. But
Yeah.
you have so many, 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 many steps.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky to have all those people to trust me. And I'm like, do they know who they are trusting right now?
No, but your work speaks for itself, Agnes. That is incredible. And I'm so excited for you. I'm excited to attend myself.
Oh yes, you're gonna love it.
I'll learn and make connections with people that I'm not already familiar with. But thank
You,
you so
you,
much for your time. I'm very wary of we've been talking for at
of
great
course.
length here. So yeah, any parting words? And yeah, if you want to let everyone know
Well,
they can
I
find
just
you
want to,
online,
I just really want to thank you, first of all, for giving me the time to chat with you and to your audience.
you're welcome.
That's one thing. And then I don't know. It's just like, I hope to see you guys at Buzz of Beauty, because
Absolutely.
that's why I'm here to promote. So you need to come, come,
Yes.
come, come, come. Please go into my Instagram page and register. In the bio, we've got the mailing list. So register to the
Mhm.
mailing list. The newsletter are going to go every week from now on, where we're going to have
Amazing. I'll sign
podcast. We're
up.
going to
Yeah.
sign up, and
And
then
then
I'll see you on the 29th and 30th at the Buzz of Beauty,
I can't
hopefully.
wait. It's going to be incredible and better weather, hopefully, as well.
Have a
Agnes,
lovely
thank you
day.
so much. Have an enjoyable afternoon, and we'll see each other soon, okay?
See
Thank you
you
for
very soon.
sharing all your wealth of knowledge. All right, then. You take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.